What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Robot Panda 15 bringing you a very long, what will be a very long loadout video. And we're going to go through basically all the weapons in the game, all the vehicles in the game, and basically go through all of that. So, first of all, some default stuff that I have on just about everything. I always have the Tanto knife, I always have the UCP camouflage, and the turtle adaptive parachute. I just like Army, go Army, so yeah. And then turtle adaptive because it looks nice. So those are the basics I have for everything. My handguns do change, but the setups are basically the same for all of them, as it shows the knife for some reason. Why are you showing the knife? Gotta love these problems. Come on, load. Now load my Smith & Wesson 40. So this is Smith & Wesson 40. I really like this handgun. I don't know why. I like it much more than the other ones, than the other skill cannons, the 44 Magnum, the MP412 Rex, and the Unica. I like it much better. I don't know why. For the longest time, I used nothing but the 226 until I found the glory of the Compact 45. This is what I have on it. I love the look of the compensators on the pistols. And I run either Tri-Beam Laser or Laser Light just because it sits flush with the trigger guard. With my pistols, it's all about looks. Like, the M9 looks really cool with this setup, so that's why I use it. Sometimes I'll switch out for the compensator, depending on what I'm doing, but yeah, that's basically what I use for that. I don't really use the QSZ92, so I don't feel like talking about that. MP443, I had like 13-something service stars with this pistol in Battlefield 3. I don't really use it at all in Battlefield 4. Shorty 12 gauge I don't touch. G18 I don't touch. I'd like to say if you're a noob, you'll use the G18, but whatever. FN57, I'm starting to mess with a little bit. I'm not a big fan of it. 1911, if it was the MuSoc 1911 that was in Battlefield 3, I would like it a lot more, but I hate the look of the iron sights. I just don't like the look of the pistol. I don't know why they switched out from the MuSoc 1911. The 93R I don't really mess with a whole lot. This was one of my favorite pistols until the big patch that nerfed it out of oblivion in Battlefield 3, but yeah, whatever. CZ75, this is one of my favorite pistols. I really love this gun. It's got a nice balance between the Compact 45 and your 226. It's not as powerful as the Compact 45, but it has a few more rounds in the magazine, and it has a higher damage model than the 226. It fires the same. It has the same damage model as I believe the MPX, because it fires the 40 Smith Wesson. The MPX fires the 40 Smith Wesson. And basically, DICE likes to go off of the same rounds. And it went back to the knife screen again. I don't know why it does that. Sorry about that. You probably heard that terrible cough right there. Yeah, that's the CZ75. I really like this handgun. I don't know why. I just love it. 44 Magnum. I don't really mess with a whole lot, but on occasion I will use it. This is my current setup with it. I like to use it with a engineer kit to provide a quote-unquote sniper rifle. I do like to pick off snipers with this. It's hilarious when you do. Compact 45, it's the only pistol I have 5 service stars with. I'm working on the CZ75 right now. I really like the look of just the compensator on there. It looks nice. MP412 Rex, I don't really mess with. The Smith & Wesson 40 is the main weapon I use on my assault kit to really just get that final damage put on enemies. I like it a lot more than the 44 because it has a higher fire rate than the 44 Magnum and the MP4. I'm not sure about the MP412 Rex. I might have a... Okay, they fire the same round. But I just like the look of the Smith & Wesson 40 with the wood hand grip. I'm running flat woodland so that it still looks like it's wood. Sometimes I go to spray woodland to make it look like it's a little bit worn down. I like it when it has a little wear and tear to it. That was one of my big suggestions I put in for Battlefield 4 was visual weapon wear and tear. Where basically the more service stars you have to have with the weapon, the more worn down the weapon kind of looks. Because I like the look of like older weapons and stuff. It looks nice. Unica 6. After I got my 6th service star with this thing, I put this POS away. I did not like this weapon at all. And then the Deagle. When the big hype train was going through about the Deagle, I used it. But now I just run the most ridiculous setup on it, just because it looks ridiculous with a big suppressor on there. Mini red dot sight just because it's a bigger dot sight, and the laser light combo just because it's a big accessory. So yeah, those are my main pistols. Those don't really change much, but I do run different pistols on occasion. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. Starting off on the assault kit, this is my primary setup that I run. This is my try-hard setup, and I have 20 something service stars with the M16A4. Battlefield 3, if you look on my Battlefield 3 stats and Battlefield 4 stats, it says M16A3 for the Battlefield 3 stats. That's lying. Those are actually M16A4 service stars, where I have 30 plus something service stars with that. But yeah, this is my main rifle of choice for Battlefield 4. I have the ripple camouflage on it because, you know, Marine Corps uses the M16A4. It's their main battle rifle, everything and that such. And I have this set up based on how my rifle in real life is set up. So I have a Coyote red dot sight, much like my really old and outdated. It's not aim point. God, I don't even remember who made it anymore. I think it's NC Star. It's an NC Star red dot that I have. Much to the design of that. Got a green laser sight because I do have a green laser sight that's actually more of the size of the tri-beam laser, but it is green, so that's why I have green laser sight on there. I got the compensator on there because this compensator in Battlefield 4 is designed off of the Noveske KX3 compensator in real life. And then the Magpul angled foregrip, which I do have. If I could put a Magpul UBR stock on there, I totally would, because the UBR stock is one of the sexiest stocks out there. I definitely put that on there, but they don't have that. Starting off from the top of the list, we got the AK-12. Now, if you've never run an AK in real life, a more tactical version AK, not one of the older version AKs, not the wooden version AKs, but the more modern version AKs. If you've never run an EOTech on those, they look so beautiful. And they represent that very well in Battlefield 4 as well. So I'm running the holo sight on there with the laser sight, got the flash hider and angled grip. This is my primary setup for most ARs. Like, if I do want to go try hard, I'll run the EOTech laser sight, flash hider, and angled grip. Sometimes I'll switch on over to the PKAS just because I like the look at the PKAS because it reminds me a lot of an Aimpoint Comp M4S sight. But you guys know me in this game, or you guys don't really know me that well because I'm kind of new to YouTube and all that, but I like to run based on cosmetics a lot, simply because I like the look of a weapon. Terminator would agree with me on that. For me, it's a lot to do with the look of it, so that's why I'm not big on the Coyote sight. I'm constantly running the Coyote sight and all that. Only on select weapons will I run the Coyote sight. And I got a Stifle. Sorry about that. Alright, now we got the Scar H, the Mark 17 rifle. I'm running the Prisma optic on there, which is similar to the Spectre DR optics that they run in the real-life versions. I know they kind of look like M145 scopes, but the Prisma optic fits better and it looks nicer on the Scar H. Actually, I haven't really run the M145 on here. I'm not sure how the M145 looks on there, but I'll keep the Prisma optic. I'll switch between laser sight and laser light combo depending on there. I was running a flash hider, but I like the look of the standard Mark 17 muzzle instead of the flash hider on there. And then we got the angled grip below because you're going to be tap firing this thing a lot, and some Scar H's do run angled grips in real life. And we got the Spray Autumn on here because it looks like ATAX. And if you don't know ATAX, it's I don't remember the full name of it, but it's what was in competition with multicam for U.S. Army soldier uniform camouflage. It looks like ATAC's foliage. I think it's foliage green. It looks like that a lot. So I like running the Spray Autumn on there. Spray Woodland is another one that looks very, very beautiful. But it's more of a darker color too, so it just depends on the scenery. Sorry about that, having to cough a lot recently. Next up, we're going to the 416, and like I said, I like running cosmetic setups on this. So we're running a 416 with a FLIR sight, cannon irons, R2 suppressor, and angled grip. This combination of optic and accessory is very, very nice because if they toss a flare at you, you have the cannon irons to go back on. But you mainly want to stick to the FLIR sight, which is very, very nice. I've been running FLIR sights on a lot of weapons recently, and it's a great optic to run if you know how to use it. Then we got the R2 suppressor because it looks like a QD suppressor. QD meaning quick detach. I really wish they had that as an option in Battlefield, where accessory you could just put quick detach and then quick detach suppressor, and then you don't have and then you lose all barrel attachment support. That would be pretty cool. I'd like that a lot. And then we got the angle grip, which I do switch out for the stubby grip depending on the situation. But that's my first setup that I run. The other setup I run is a PKAS with the magnifier. This is my top favorite optic accessory to run is the PKAS with the magnifier. And depending on the map, if there's a map with a lot of range, I'll switch out for the flash hider so I don't lose that bullet drop. And then the angle grip will stay on that. And the M416 is one of the rare weapons where you can run muzzle brake and angled grip. The reason you don't see me running muzzle brake and stubby grip, which is another common setup I see a lot of people run for some reason, is because, take a look at the stats. Reduces muzzle climb by 25%, but adds a 30% penalty to the accuracy. And the stubby grip only helps with the accuracy of automatic fire by 15, so you still have a 15% accuracy decrease on that, which I'd much rather deal with recoil than accuracy, which is why my other favorite attachment combo to run is heavy barrel angled grip, because it'll give you the accuracy you need while letting you fight recoil, which recoil is something you can control. Spread of a weapon is something that is kind of difficult to control on console, so recoil is something you want to control more than your accuracy. Now the SAR 21, I don't use this weapon a lot since I've mastered other weapons that outperform this in every way, shape, and form. But I run this for realism styles, for milsim styles. I took a look at some of the Singapore Army guys. Some of my Marine Corps buddies sent me pictures of what they run. So we got a hollow sight with a flashlight, and then I ran a heavy barrel and a stubby grip because they had vertical grips on theirs, and as well as the EOTechs and flashlights. So that's basically just based on what the Singapore Army runs. I have Turtle Snow on there just because it looks nice. Now we got the X Factor AEK 971 setup. Exception, I removed the laser sight. I didn't really need it, so I removed it. And I'm running the best camo in the game, the flanker camo. But yeah, we got the flash hider and the angled grip on there. Go see X Factor's videos if you want to know how this setup works. It's pretty simple. You microburst. The FAMAS, since this weapon is a joke, I made a joke of a setup. We got the JG-M4. I would definitely put the PSO on there if I had it, with a flashlight, an R2 suppressor, and a bipod, just kind of messing around with it. What's funny is that sometimes I'll top scoreboards with this gun, which is ridiculous because I also top scoreboards with a J&G 90 with a hollow sight and nothing else on it. I don't know why, but I guess some people just like to see me win with terrible weapons. Next up, we got the AUG A3. There are so many ways I run this weapon, it's ridiculous, but right now I'm running a stubby grip with an LS06 suppressor, a laser sight, and a PKAS sight. Sometimes I'll run a Prisma optic or a PKA sight if I feel like it. And I'm going to talk kind of fast in this part because I don't really care for much of these assault rifles, because the next one on the list is my baby, the M16A4, which I've already discussed. I just realized that. But seriously, guys, for those of you on console that don't like the M16A4, or for those of you on PC that don't like it because it's a burst weapon, start getting on test range and master the timing of those bursts. Because when you get a full 800 RPM out of that, you'll look at all these other rifles, like the M416. You'll look at that. You'll look at the AUG A3. You'll look at the L85A2. You'll look at all these weapons, and you'll just laugh. You'll say, nice, you got an 800 rounds per minute, or you got a 700 or sub 800 rounds per minute. I can burst this thing at 800 rounds per minute, and it looks full auto. That's what's nice about the M16A4, and because you're shooting in bursts, you can get away with throwing a compensator or a muzzle brake or whatever you want on it. You can get away. Now, one thing I wouldn't recommend is putting a stubby grip on this. I guess it could help, but because you're firing in bursts and your recoil spread somewhat decreases after each burst, angle grip is the way to go, because your first shot recoil is actually transitioned to last shot recoil. I run the angle grip compensator setup because it's mitigating as much recoil as possible. We lose the side-to-side recoil, and because it's a burst weapon, we're losing the first shot recoil, which is generally vertical recoil. It's not as much horizontal recoil. So yeah, we got that going. The CZ805, I run this setup because I like it. It's nice. Sometimes I do good with it. Sometimes I just don't use it. I've been ignoring a lot of these guns because I'm trying to be number one on PS3 on BF4 stats with the M16A4. That's just what I'm going for right now. QBZ95, I use it for S&G. If you don't know what that means, Google it. Um, I use this when I want to troll and I want to use the M320 Dart, which if you don't know what that is, it's the best weapon in the game because it guarantees you a kill every time you switch on over to it. But yeah, I'm running the Holo Sight on it. Holo Sight's my favorite sight in the game because it looks beautiful on just about every single weapon in the game, which especially on the Ace 23, which I've never really touched. I don't even think I have a service star with this gun. Do I? I don't think I do. Nope. Oh, I do. I have 108 kills with it, and that's it. Like, I literally said, let's get the service star and call it good. I'm running an MA5B setup on this F2000. If you don't know what the MA5B is, it's the assault rifle in Halo. So I got the flashlight on there. But yeah, just kind of running it like the Halo assault rifle. Next up, we got the L85A2 with the holo mag. And excuse me if you guys don't know what that means. Holo mag basically means holo sight magnifier. It's just the combination of the two words. Sometimes I'll call it the magnified HWS, which is magnified holographic weapon sight. That's basically what this combination is. And then we got the flash hider and angled grip. Pretty standard combination. Prisma optic on this with the tri-beam laser. I will change that out for a laser sight depending on if I feel like it. I'm not sure yet. Heavy barrel with the folding grip because the angled grip looks ugly on this. I don't know why DICE hasn't fixed this, but the angled grip looks absolutely terrible. And the reason I will sometimes run an underslung rail on this is because I like to make this look like the one that Beretta showcased when they were revealing the ARX 160. They had an EGLM, which is an enhanced grenade launcher module, on the bottom, but unfortunately DICE just sticks an ugly M320 on the bottom. I really wish DICE would have some of the grenade launcher modules that are on some of these weapons, like the like how the old M16s had the M203 on them. I think they did. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But like, you know how some of them have the GP30 and stuff? I really wish DICE would have done that. That would have been cool. Bulldog I don't run at all anymore. I got my service stars with it and called it good, so I'm not even going to talk about that weapon. Next up, we got the Engineer PDWs. My favorite being this MPX setup I have here with the holo sight, the R2 suppressor, and the stubby grip. I have quick response camo on all my PDWs because that's what a PDW is meant for, is quick response. Next up is the SR2. I don't touch that. AS Val, I don't really touch. P90, I run this setup because it looks really, really fancy on it. If it'll pop, there it is. It just looks so cool with that setup. Next up, we got the JS2, which I don't touch. The CZ3A1, which I run with the Ghost Recon Future Soldier loadout, and it looks very, very beautiful with that. The PDWR, which looks really cool with the laser light combo with having both of them down there. Got the suppressor on there and the holo sight. The CBJMS, I tried to make look as ridiculous as possible, and I think I succeeded. Since we're running a flashlight on there. I wonder if when you run the laser light combo, what they should have done was put a flashlight on one side and the laser sight on the other. That would have been hilarious. But yeah, I got the can. That's what I call this suppressor. I know everyone else calls it the potato. I call it the can. And then we got the IRNV, just to make it look as ridiculous as possible. Next up, we got the merging of two worlds. We got the UMP-45 with an ACOG sight, which, if you've never played Modern Warfare 2, they had a UMP-45 with an ACOG in it and it just looked beautiful. And then we got the suppressor on there, which comes from the Bad Company 2 days of your UMP having a suppressor on it. And then we have the stubby grip and the laser sight, the laser sight to counteract the suppressor, and the stubby grip to give it as much accuracy as possible, because this is not the most accurate weapon of the bunch. Next up, PP2K, which I don't touch. Neither do I touch the MX4. But yeah, there's that for you. I'm going to hop on over to the carbines because a lot of people facilitate engineer with carbines thanks to Battlefield 3, when I kind of like the Battlefield 4 model because it's the BC2 model, meaning your engineers are meant to be in a building, which they are supposed to be. I don't know why everyone complains about the carbine switch. The reason I think DICE gave PDWs to engineers, partially to balance them out, but also because engineers are meant to be in buildings when they engage armored units. That's how they get all those flank shots. That's how they're going to get the side shots, the top shots, the rear shots on them. They're meant to do hit and run tactics with inside buildings. And what better weapon aside from a shotgun do you have to clear a building? A PDW. So enough on that. I can do a separate video for that. First up, we got the AK-5C with the target detector, the Prisma sight, heavy barrel, and angled grip. Very good attachment combo if you know how to tap fire. ACWR with my favorite loadout combos with the R2 suppressor and the stubby grip. It looks very, very nice. I'll run a flash hider on this if I feel like it. SG553, which is slowly becoming my new favorite weapon with the classic Battlefield 3 setup. The AKU-12, which I don't touch. A91, which for the longest time I was running a Ghost Recon Future Soldier setup, which was this. But now I just kind of run it however I feel like running it. Ace-52, which I don't really mess with too much. I tried the heavy barrel on it, but it had too much recoil. Now it's too inaccurate with just the folding grip. I think I'm going to have to just stick with stubby grip on there and no barrel attachment. Agent camo because it looks really cool. The G36C. Now this, for some reason, whenever I pick this thing up, I go on some serious kill tears. I think it's the combination of attachments that makes it accurate, but I go on some really long kill tears with this weapon. Basically, to start this thing off, I started off with an ACOG sight on this and a laser light combo as well as a stubby grip and heavy barrel as an homage to the new Tom Clancy game coming out, Rainbow Six Siege. That's why I ran it on support class with C4 and Ballistic Shield, and the first time I ran it, I was just killing people left and right for just absolutely no reason at all. And then I also ran the folding grip instead of the stubby grip when I ran the ACOG, just because the ACOG kind of bounced your sights up a little bit more. But yeah, I was just killing people left and right, and I had no idea why. But now I run a PKA sight on there to kind of act like a magnified version of a Aimpoint T1 Micro. But yeah, I really like running this gun on occasion and just slaughtering people with it. It's just, for some reason, I do exceptionally good with it. Next up, we got the M4, and since you guys know I love the M16A4, you probably guessed that I love the M4 as well. Got the same setup on here, not going to talk too much about it. I use the M4 over the M16A4 in game modes like Lockers or Metro, simply because the M4 has better benefits in close range. If you guys didn't know, carbines have better hip fire over assault rifles while having less range. And kind of that fact, you can look into the facts at SimThick. I don't really feel like going over those because I don't like SimThick as much. Ace-21 CQB, which is the Ace-23 in a carbine form, being less accurate. We got the Type 95B1, which I don't think anyone runs this. And then the MTAR-21 with the Israeli Defense Force loadout with the reflex sight and magnifier. The red mag is what I call this. Next up, we're going to go into the support kit. Starting off with the pig. No, not the pig. That's the M60. Starting off with with Billy. That's what X Factor calls it. Once again, as you guys probably know, I like to watch a lot of X Factor. But Billy here, running the PKAS sight with a laser sight, heavy barrel, and angled grip. Once again, heavy barrel, angled grip working very well with balancing the recoils. Ripple camo on there because Marine Corps. And then I'm going to say one thing right off the bat here. You want to have a bipod on your LMGs whenever you can. Warflord and I are going to have some videos up sometime of us running light machine guns that are bipoded with magnified optics on there, like the Prisma sight or something. And I say Prisma site because it's my favorite site. And basically, we don't really top the scoreboards on frequent basis, but it's just so much fun to just hold down that trigger and walk these rounds in on a target and knowing he's probably gonna die. It's just so much fun because you can be 150 meters away from an objective and just spray down rounds. Those of you guys who have played Parasol Storm Rush with me on the attacking or defending side, after that second base hits, you know I'm just gonna sit in that building and just spray down rounds with a machine gun with it bipoded. Bipoded machine guns are such a threat if you know how to use it. But starting off the list here, we got the Ultimax MK5. I call it the U100. Or I call it the Ultimax. The Battlefield likes to call it the U100 because I was introduced to this weapon in Ghost Recon Future Soldier. I play a lot of Ghost Recon Future Soldier if you guys didn't know that. But I run a hollow mag with a heavy barrel and a stubby grip. Nothing really else on that. Once I got better machine guns, I started using those. Next up, we got the Type 88, bipoded, of course, with a FLIR optic. The LSAT with a stubby grip, with a Prisma optic and a laser sight. This has better hip fire than most of the other LMGs. Got the PKP, once again, magnified optic bipod. Don't really use it all that much. To be honest, I wish the PKP had 200 rounds because it fires slower, and that would give it more of a balance compared to the 240 Bravo, which fires much faster, but they have the same damage model. Next up, the QBB 95-1. I never touched this weapon, but it has a bipod on there. The 240 Bravo, which I do bipod on occasion. MG4, which I've never touched. The 249, which will have a bipod on it. I was running some chopper gunner setups the other day, so I was running this kind of setup on it we would have a gunner, we'd have one of the guys on the side on the door gun, and then I would be an extra quote unquote door gun with the 249, so we'd have extra rounds on target. RPK 12 with a hollow sight with a bipod. M60 E4 bipod, don't really use it though. RPK 74 never touched, and the AWS never really messed with. But yeah, those are my support setups. Now, I would talk about shotguns, but I only use the Sega and the UTS, and on occasion, the DVV. I've been messing around with the M1014 because, once again, Call of Duty. I've been trying to get the tactical light for it because it'll look nicer, but the only reason I run the M1014 is for the Call of Duty homage. Next, so I'll talk about DMRs this time, actually, because I do like to run support kits with DMRs. Once again, if an LMG is not providing suppression, a DMR will do the exact same thing. Starting off the list, we got the RFB, the Keltec RFB. Beautiful, beautiful weapon, and it just looks so awesome with the hollow mag on it. Most of my DMR setups, as well as a lot of people's DMR setups, will run a suppressor. I run it for different reasons because they are longer. But if you didn't know, heavy barrel is probably the best attachment. Heavy barrel or muzzle brake is probably the best attachment for a DMR. You can go to Synthic and look at all the stats, but honestly, it's just your preference. And if you're not running angled grip, if you're not running angled grip or bipod, you're probably doing it wrong because the stubby and potato grip don't really do anything. You could run an ergo grip to help you out, but there should never be reasons why you run a DMR in close range. That's what your sidearm's for. Got the Mark 11 Mod 0, and this has been a setup I've run, well, except for the target detector. This has been a setup I've ran since Battlefield 3, and before that I had an airsoft rifle exactly like this, which I modeled off of one of the guys from Airsoft GI. Basically, it was an ACOG. I threw a laser sight on there because I could with the suppressor, or I didn't have a laser sight back in Battlefield 3, so it was an ACOG suppressor bipod, and it just looks so beautiful in Battlefield 3, and it looks even better in Battlefield 4 now that I can add a laser sight to it, but I swapped that out for a target detector. On occasion, I'll switch out the bipod for a angle grip, but I do love the bipod on there. I have 500 something kills? I think I do. Let's see, do I have everything unlocked? Yes, I do. So yes, I have 500 plus kills with this. It's a very, very nice weapon. I like it. I don't really use any of the DMRs very often. The M39 I use on occasion because it looks very Special Forces like, but I mostly stick to the Mark 11 and the RFB. I've been messing around a little bit with the Scar HSV, but meh. Recon rifles. Now, I'll preface the recon rifles by saying pick a rifle to start with. Most people that I see run recon rifles that don't really know how to run a sniper rifle, they will bounce around from rifle to rifle. Or they'll automatically go to the SR-61. With Battlefield 3, I ran the M40 and only the M40, and I got really good with the M40 where I was picking off heads on moving targets constantly. But the key to this is you want to stay within 150 meters of your target engagement zone. That's what I call it. Your target engagement zone should be 50 to 150 meters. Anything within that, you want to back up to engage. Anything past that, you want to get in to engage. The reason being is most sniper rifles' flight time is very quick within that 100 meter gap that you have there. A lot of the times you won't really need to adjust much for running targets and you hardly ever need to adjust for distance because you're within 100 meters. So that's why I run a FLIR sight with canted irons. Once again, if they throw a flare at you, you can switch on over to the canted irons. Or if you're like me, you can drop into the trenches, switch on over to the canted irons, and just hit down the lane. I got the flash hider on there with the straight pull. And advice for newbies, go to test range. Here, I'll show you guys here. Go to test range and just start picking off these targets. Just start getting your bullet drop down. See right there, I missed. Got a hit there. That was a miss. If I had a magnified optic, I'll be able to hit those guys better. But yeah, basically go to test range and just kind of shoot at the targets in the range. Get your muzzle velocity down and stick with that rifle. Do not move on to a different rifle until you have 500 service stars, or not 500 service stars, 500 kills with it. Master the weapon before you move on. Because if you're bouncing around from sniper rifle to sniper rifle, you'll never get the bullet drop down, and you'll be that guy that's sitting in base, bipoded up, shooting at targets 500 meters from the objective, and always missing. Which doesn't help you at all. Now, after mastering the M40A5, I moved on to the L96A1, which has become my favorite sniper rifle to use in rush, simply because it's got a good combination of muzzle velocity and bolt cycle speed, which is very, very good. So I like to two-shot people in the chest with this rifle. A lot of the times when you see me shoot my sniper rifles, it's mostly just to get rounds down range and get 2 shots in the chest. Sometimes I'll get a headshot on him if I can judge the distance right, or if an enemy sniper gives me the time to judge the distance. But a lot of the times when you're shooting a sniper rifle, it's all about getting the round down range first to suppress the other sniper. So if I get the round down range first and it's a chest shot, and then I get another round off quickly enough before he even moves, then that's a kill, before he even had time to adjust for bullet drop. That's what's really, really nice, is it takes time to focus a headshot. It takes less time to focus a body shot. And if you land 2 body shots, you're guaranteed to get the kill before he even lands at the headshot. After that, I've been working on mastering the SR61, which I run, you guessed it, a Call of Duty setup on it. I really like this setup. It looks beautiful. But yeah, I run this for, once again, for just my own funny reasons. But yeah, I don't really mess with any of the other rifles that much. The J&G 90, if you've taken a look at the Simthic stats, which I keep bringing those up when I shouldn't, the J&G 90 is actually has a higher muzzle velocity than the SR61, I believe. It has a faster bolt cycle speed as well by a whole bullet. But I ran a hollow sight. Like I said before, I ran a hollow sight on this for the longest time, and was just picking people off. Close range, long range, it didn't matter. Just people were just dying left and right, and I got accused for hacking and everything. I was like, dude, I've ran sniper rifles for a long time, so I know how to use them. And Okay, that's weapon setups. Wow, that was 35 minutes long. Vehicle setups. We're gonna get through these much faster because I typically run one vehicle setup on each one. First and foremost, we got armor setups. I'm not that experienced with armor, but I'm working on it. So I run AP shell with autoloader. With this combo, you can get your shells downrange. Like, you can get 2 shells downrange at the same time it would take for 1 HE shell from the enemy tank to get downrange, which is good odds for you. If you're not running active protection on your armor, you're doing it wrong. And I actually, because I'm not running reactive armor on mine, I like to pillar a lot. I like to stay at range, which is why I have zoom optics, the coax HMG, or bust, basically. And then for gunners, I'm going to say this right now. Please run proximity scan if you're a gunner. It helps out your tank drivers so much, and you as well, to know, oh god, there's a guy with C4 running at us. Because if you're taking a look at that mini-map and just this red dot pops up, I believe it shows up on everyone's mini-map as well, so they'll shoot at the guy too. And you can run zoom optics, you can run thermal, whatever you want. I prefer thermal. I prefer zoom because it'll let you see better. Starting off with IFVs. This is my primary setup I run. I don't really have a secondary setup or anything. But I run APS with autoloader. I'll switch away from thermal optics to zoom optics depending on the situation. But if you know how to do your sabot shells, I always call them sabot shells. I don't call them by their active name that they call them here. Once you start getting good at those, you'll be able to hit snipers at long range. You'll be able to hit infantry rushing you, infantry strafing you, and whatever. And then you got tow missiles, which are much better for consistent damage than Zunies. If three or so of your Zunies miss, you're doing less damage than just a straight up tow missile. And tow missiles also get mobility hits, whereas Zunies don't really get them as often. So tow missiles are always good to run, especially for anti-armor. And then you basically want to stay mobile. And once again, you got proximity scan. I run thermal on this just because the IFV is more of a close-range vehicle, so thermal is very nice. Mobile anti-aircraft I don't really touch. I'm a jet pilot. I hate anti-aircraft, so yeah, I don't touch that. Attack boats I've been messing around with. Once again, I run in the same way I run my IFVs, except with belt... Oh, wait, did I have belt feeder? I do. I have autoloader on infantry fighting vehicles and belt feeder on these. I've seen people run passive radar missiles. I've seen people run TV guided missiles, but if you lose track of your TV missile, or if you launch that TV missile, you lose mobility. So that's why I like running tow missiles, because you can keep up the mobility. You just have to keep the beam on target. And if you guys didn't know, tow missiles are beam riding missiles. So just keep the beam on target and you'll be set. Now we're getting into the jets. Here we go. 25mm cannons, because with the upcoming patch, DICE will be making 25mm cannons in anti-infantry cannon. And if you're good with your cannons, you'll be able to hit enemy jets pretty well. Laser guided missiles for CAS, you're going to want to run ECM as well as stealth coating. If you're only dealing with 1 or 2 Stinger users, I'd run IR flares, but ECM gets you out of most of those if you pop it right. If you pop it after the missile's in the air and it's a Stinger or something, you're done for. It's going to hit you. You just got to get good at your stabilization. And I run stealth coating to balance out the ECM, basically let me get out of the area a little bit faster. And if you're not running flanker camo on your jets, what are you doing, bruh? Flanker's best jet in game. Next up, we got scout choppers, 7.62 miniguns with the laser guided missiles to provide a little bit of AT. And then you got ECM as well as belt feeders, so you can keep those 7.62s on target longer. Attack helicopters. Now I know what a lot of you are saying is, Panda, where is your anti-air defense on this? Actually, I need to change that. My anti-air defense is my Zuni rockets. If you get really good with your Zuni rockets, you'll be able to hit it only takes 3, I believe. 3 Zuni rockets will destroy the enemy attack chopper. I think it's the same amount for the scout chopper. And jets, well, if you're going up against jets, you're just screwed anyways. I run the tow missiles for more anti-armor damage. 2 tow missiles plus half a pod of Zuni rockets is a guaranteed kill on a tank. I run ECM jam as well as stealth coating. Sometimes I'll run fire extinguisher if needed, depending on the amount of stingers. Fire extinguisher is really helpful if there's a lot of stingers in the air, because you'll be able to pop the fire extinguisher, get out and repair, and get back in, and you're ready to fight. Splinter Snow looks beautiful on this thing. TV guided missiles are nice. I really wish DICE would have switched this around and made it more realistic based and gave tow missiles to the gunner and laser guided missiles to the pilot, because then the pilot can lock on with laser guided missiles, fire those off, and then the gunner can guide the tow missiles in with his gun reticle. It's so much easier. It'd be so much better to guide the tow missiles in with the gunner's reticle than it would be for the pilot, because you have to use the I-beam, I believe. And even then, it's launching off the side of your wing, and you're still having a pilot, and it's a lot of things to think about with the tow missiles, which is why it'd be much better if these two were flipped around. But hey, I'm not going to argue. I've mastered it. If you're not using thermal optics, and belt feeder, because proximity scan is useless on a chopper. I guess it would be useful if you were staying in the chopper and you were in a heated zone, so you would know if there was a guy planting C4 on you. But if they've already planted C4 on you, they're planning to blow themselves up, so it's not that useful. So I run belt feeder. Attack jets. You have to run 30mm GAU, otherwise there's really nothing else to run. About these JDAMs. Master your JDAM drops. Once you get that mastered, you have no reason to use any of these other weapons. TV guided missiles slow your jet down way too much. Hydro rockets, you could use them, but once you've discovered the power of JDAMs, you will probably never go back. And once again, ECM is stealth coding for that. And I run Ripple Camo on all my transports. So yeah, that was out of the way really fast. Oh, I forgot to mention, for air superiority or air dominance, I run passive radar missiles with the 20mm cannon, because the 20mm cannon shreds everything. And passive radar missiles are nice because if they flare and you still have range on them, your missiles will still hit them after you reacquire the lock. Those passive radar missiles still have a chance to hit once acquiring lock on. It's the same reason why I prefer the Igla over the Stinger, is because the Igla, you have to maintain the lock, so the Iglas also have a chance to come back and hit the target, which a lot of people will accuse you of hacks if you use passive radar missiles, because they don't understand that the missiles can still hit. They'll be like, I flared and blah 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 blah. Well, passive radar missiles last for a good, I think it's 12 seconds before they just explode. So if you can get that lock on back on within that 12 seconds, and quick note, flares only stop a lock for 3 seconds, and depending on where you flare, if you veer too far from your flares, you can get the lock on within those 3 seconds. And ECM, kind of the same thing, except it's 7 seconds. So that's why it's very important to run ECM and stealth coding in case somebody else is running passive radar missiles. But if they're not, you pretty much killed them with your passive radar missiles. So yeah, I run that for air superiority type stuff. If I was going against choppers, I would run active radar missiles, just because I personally hate choppers when they hunt for jets, because they can turn on a dime. But now that jets have more pitch over choppers, you can just pitch up immediately, and if they don't realize that there's a 90-degree gap, or that there's a 90-degree lock on their chopper, and they try to hit you or they try to lock onto you while you're pitched up, they'll crash right into the ground. It's funny to watch when they do that. So yeah, those are the setups I run. I don't really change them that much at all, really, except for my infantry setups. These are constantly changing. But yeah, guys, this video just is about to hit like 45 minutes or so, so I'm going to end it off here and readjust these loadouts. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching if you did, and I will see you guys next time. Panda, checking out.